Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Here we are with you again another afternoon to all our friends out in the virtual space. We're happy to be back with your update on Whispering Hope. And here to present our update this afternoon is Mr. Leonard Josiah. We're still seeing a busy Atlantic, but again, I can't say too much. I'm not the expert. With us, Mr. Josiah will take us away into this afternoon's weather update. Mr. Josiah, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, my brother. How are you doing? So happy that we are doing this. This is a special afternoon. We are doing a broadcast just to ensure that as we go into the weekend, we can alleviate some of the fears and some of the questions that individuals may have. I know that many people might have been hearing that the Atlantic is so active right now, and that's a real fact. But at the same time, we want to ensure that individuals are informed as they go through the weekend. So I'm already sharing my screen already. I can talk about tropical depression number 19 this afternoon that formed just off the coast of Florida. That's up here. And by the way, I can suggest to you that that is not going to impact us here in Antigua and Barbuda. Tropical depression number 19 is forecast to remain well away from the Eastern Caribbean as not to cause us any impact. Very similarly, tropical storms Paulette and tropical storm Rene, they are heading out to sea. The only thing though is with Paulette, she is causing some swells to reach our northern coastlines, and those swells are not necessarily going to be pleasing for individuals who are desirous of going to the beaches, particularly along the northeastern coastal areas from Fort James, for us in Antigua, Fort James, even across the Jabberwock, even those areas there, you could see some swells coming into the area that could cause some rip currents, etc., that are not necessarily friendly for sea bathers. As a matter of fact, that is extremely hazardous for sea bathing activities. So pay attention to those. But in terms of direct impact, direct wind impacts, etc., and rainy conditions, no, we're not seeing any direct impacts from these two tropical systems. And by the way, my brother, you got some good showers today down at Jennings, and that is indicative because of the fact that we did have what we call daytime heating because of the fact that Paulette has caused the pressure gradient to be so slack that the wind field that is related over us right now, that wind field is so light, and because of that, we had some buildups today and some much needed rainfall in some parts of the area. But let me take you straight out to the coast of Africa. Take a look at my take a look at my screen right now. We have this area of disturbed weather. The disturbance number 4 has a 40% chance of forming in the next 5 days. This is another area of disturbed weather that is located just off the west coast of Africa. The environmental conditions support some development within the next few days, and there is just about a 40% chance of it developing into a tropical depression over the far eastern tropical Atlantic. But the good news is that it's forecast to follow in the same track as Rene and Paulette and head out to sea. That particular area of disturbed weather, this one down here, is forecast to, if it does develop into a tropical system, it's forecast to become what we call a fish storm. But for the area that we continue to monitor and individuals continue to ask questions about is this area marked X, is tropical disturbance number 3. It has a 90% chance of forming into a tropical cyclone within the next 5 days. The models are suggesting that as of the next 5 days, it will continue to move generally towards the west. West mean it will come closer to the Eastern Caribbean. But there is some divergence with our models today because some of our models, some models are suggesting that it will pass towards the northeast, and some say it will pass farther towards the northeast, some say a little bit closer to the northeast of the island chain. But again, that's too early to say. When the models are this far out, sometimes they are they have what we call larger errors associated with their forecast. So we don't want individuals to be honing in on it to the extent where they let their guards down because they're seeing that it will drag out towards the east. Take a look at some of our models. This is what we call our European model. European model. Here is Antigua and Barbuda. Let me just annotate that right now for you so you could see exactly what we are saying. Here's Antigua and Barbuda. We're located in this spot. Here is the tropical cyclone that is forecast to pass, moving out in this general location. And you could see it's generally a safe distance from the Eastern Caribbean. That is certainly good news. And that's the type of news that we would really want to have. Take a look at our GFS model. Our GFS model has it a little bit closer to the island chain, okay? And that GFS model continues to suggest that a path that is slightly closer, this is the storm right now, and the GFS model is even more closer than the European model. So it's something that we want to watch, because out in time, these models can also shift back closer to the island chain. And even though this is the forecast as of this afternoon, residents of our Twin Island state should be mindful that there are possibilities and adjustments to the track that can be made over time. And these adjustments can either take the system away or inch the system closer to the area. So here's one of the things that I would want to leave with you. Do not be surprised that during the course of the weekend that you hear another tropical depression forming. If there's another tropical depression forming and they say out in the eastern tropical Atlantic is this particular area, and if that's the case, then you should not be alarmed that you could hear about another tropical system forming. Here is this tropical system way out here. Let me annotate that one more time. Let me clear all drawings so that I can draw it for you. Here's the system right out here, okay? Not much convection associated with it, as you could see in tropical storm when they're all this deep red. We're not seeing all this deep red associated with it just as yet, because it is in the formative stages. And with that happening, the cloudiness is not necessarily too organized. However, as it moves on towards the west, the northwest, we are likely to see it gaining a little bit more convection. Here is Antigua and Barbuda, still somewhat in the region of 1,800 miles to the east-southeast of the island chain. And the forecast is for it to pass towards that area here at a safe distance from Antigua and Barbuda. So we're going to be monitoring it should it inch closer back to us. So those are some of the monitorings that we're going to be taking a look at, my brother.
Okay, so we're basically seeing that all the possible disturbances, tropical storms, are going away from us.
Well, the latest forecast, well, as of yesterday, the more notable forecast models, the more notable forecast models, which I just showed you just a while ago,
yes,
which include these two models here, the GFS and also the ECMWF. Actually, yesterday, the GFS had it going through here, like this, which is through Dominica, while the ECMWF had it moving out here like this. Okay, so you could see
closer to Antigua.
That's correct, with Antigua smack right in the center. You could see as of today, those models now have shifted their tune out here. Okay, and they are shifted the tune out here away from the islands. But one of the things that I just mentioned, that these models can also, by virtue of them getting new information every 6 hours, they can correct themselves, and that track can shift back again to the west. Okay, so those are some of the possibilities that can happen, and residents of Antigua and Barbuda and the rest of the area should be very mindful that these adjustments can be made.
Okay, that's good information. Persons can go into the weekend being fairly confident, though not 100% confident that we are in a safe place, and all things being equal, we're dealing with a lot of busyness, but nothing of serious intent for the islands. That's good news. That's very good news. And so we go into the weekend with confidence, and we hope that it remains so. We are in the middle of September, basically, quote unquote, and things could happen. Things could happen, but I'm happy that all those beautiful spots out in the ocean are not at all of serious concern to us. So that's good news. We want to thank you for the update and for the clarity. many of us go on to National Hurricane Center, but we do not really understand what's happening there. So it's good when we always get an expert coming through to bring us up to speed as to what we are seeing, and so it can be made plainer to us.
And my brother, just might I add here for clarity, just so that you could understand the nature of the uncertainty one more time. And here's the reason why I need to stress it. It's because of the fact that this particular feature, which is the tropical cyclone that's in the forecasting making, is actually tracking because of the weakness that's created by Tropical Storm Paulette and Tropical Storm Rene. Those two storms have pushed the high pressure system in such an orientation that it is causing this to escape. Now, if that high pressure builds back in over here, it can easily push it back down to the south and have it track a little closer. So those are some of the dynamics that we are looking at that is likely to impact the future path of this particular feature. Rest of all, we just need to be monitoring it, and we're going to be certainly bringing you the information as it comes to hand.
And certainly not only be monitoring, but be prepared. Things do happen overnight. And we have learned that so clearly over the years. So I want to thank you. A pleasant Sabbath when it comes around.
And same to you, my brother.
I hope that you will enjoy the worship service and seeing you over the weekend. Seeing you when the new week begins. God bless you. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Sure to you, my brother.